Another thing you mentioned before is the trigger plate specifically. Do you remember that?
What we were talking about was the polishing on the side of the trigger plate, and one of the signs of our early trigger work when we started doing autocockers was we would take a center punch, and you can see it where we'd shorten the track that the three-way actuating rod would go into, so it kind of lessens the amount of time that you have where you release the trigger before the bolt goes forward. Basically, as soon as you release pressure on the trigger, the bolt's going to go forward. So even with the crude triggers we were doing at the time, you could get a really high rate of fire going. You know, you could probably 4 or 5 balls a second really easily with an old autococker.
And then you were starting to go into the cross-hatching or checkering that you would do.
Yeah, and so one of the things I did, and I didn't do this on a whole lot of guns, maybe 20 or 30, but basically I would take a Protein Products grip frame, cut the checkering into it with a checkering file on the back strap, the front strap, and then I would go around the trigger guard, which not many people know how to do that, and so it was really distinctive. In fact, there was a guy named Leo from Concord who had 2 auto mags that I built like that, and they both ended up being about $2,500 in that day, so they were expensive guns, where I just went all out and checkered them, and they were really beautiful guns. They had like we sent them to Palmer's to be nickeled after we checkered them, and we got everything gold anodized on those guns. They came out really, really beautiful.
What year was that?
It would be about 1994. Maybe the very end of our time when we had the store in Petaluma, after we took over Petaluma Paintball. Billy Wing was a customer of ours at the time. He was like 14 years old. He couldn't even drive yet. And one time, I think it was during Christmas season in like 1992, there must have been 50 people in the store, and I was just like, I couldn't keep up. And Billy's just standing there kind of looking around. It's like, Billy, come here, get behind the counter, start selling stuff. Because he knew how to fill, and he could bag paint really fast because he'd hung around the store quite a bit. And Billy was just like an ideal employee, and the guy was great. Enjoyed working with him and playing with him.
And then you were saying that after you left Pacific, he probably carried over a lot of the modifications.
Yeah, Billy was actually a very experienced machinist by that point, because I had gotten him a job with my former gunsmithing firm, McDougall and Associates. And so if anybody out there in YouTube land is into custom carry guns, a lot of the little custom carry guns built by McDougall and Associates from about 1995 through about 2002, a lot of that work was done by Billy Wing. So he did the checkering, the sights, the dehorning, all that kind of stuff. Billy was actually a very experienced gunsmith by the time he left McDougall.
Awesome.